Alright, this video will be a review video of multiplying and dividing integers as well as exponents. Right, multiplying integers. When multiplying two integers, ask yourself the question, do the integers have the same sign? If yes, then you can multiply the integers and your answer will always be a positive. So a positive times a positive is equal to a positive. A negative times a negative is also equal to a positive. If your answer is no, then you need to multiply the integers and your answer will be a negative. And a negative times a positive will give you a negative answer, and a positive times a negative will also give you a negative answer. Alright, let's look at some examples. Alright, so the same sign. Same sign, we can multiply and we should get a positive product or answer. 5 times 6 is a positive 30. A negative 6 times a negative 4 will give us a positive 24. And negative 9 times a negative 5 will equal a positive 45. Alright, different signs. So if we have different signs, our product or our answer shall be negative. 2 times a negative 7 will give us a negative 14. Negative 8 times times a positive 4 will give us a negative 32. And a negative 4 times a positive 9 will give us a negative 36. Okay, so same sign, whether it's positive or negative, will give you a positive product. If the signs are different, you will get a negative. And reminder, this is when dealing with multiplying two integers. Alright, exponents. Remember, an exponent tells us to multiply the base number by itself that many times. In this case, it is 5 times. So we need to multiply 2, which is the base, by itself 5 times. So 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 2. Instead of having to write that all out, you can just do 2 raised to the 5th power, or 2 to the exponent 5. And your answer will be 32. Alright, but some important rules when we're looking at exponents. If the exponent is outside the parentheses, it applies to everything inside. So we have negative 5 raised to the 2nd power, or negative 5 squared. That means it is negative 5 times negative 5. And again, if we have two integers with the same sign and we're multiplying, our answer will always be positive. So negative 5 times negative 5 will give you a positive 25. If there are no parentheses, it only applies to the number it is next to. Okay, so in this case we have negative 5 squared, and so the exponent is only applied to the 5, and the negative stays outside of that. So we have 5 times 5, which is 25, and then we have to bring that negative back, so our answer is negative 25. Alright, so 3 squared, there's no negatives, so we know that 2 applies to the 3, so we need to multiply 3 times 3, which will give us positive 9. Alright, and then we got a negative 3 squared. So in this situation, we have a negative, and then we got 3 times 3. Okay, so we bring that negative over, and then we have 3 times 3 is 9. So our answer, negative 3 squared, is equal to negative 9. Alright, and here we got negative 3 squared, and the exponent is outside the parentheses, so it applies to everything inside. So we have negative 3 times negative 3, and that is equal to a positive 9, because we have a negative times a negative, and that will always equal positive. Okay, dividing integers. Okay, now you may notice that the rules are exactly the same for multiplying and dividing integers. If the integers have the same sign, your quotient will be positive, or your answer will be positive. So a positive divided by a positive will give you a positive. A negative divided by a negative will give you a positive as well. If the signs are different, then your answer will be negative, just like in multiplication. Negative divided by a positive will be negative, and a positive divided by a negative will also be negative. All right, let's look at some examples. So, same sign, 10 divided by 2. That one's easy. We got 5. Negative 27 divided by negative 3. So how many groups of negative 3 are there in negative 27? There are 9 groups of negative 3 and negative 27. Negative 48 divided by negative 8. How many groups of negative 8 are there in negative 48? And there are 6. So negative 48 divided by negative 8 will give you a positive 6. All right, and just like with multiplication, different signs, your answers, your quotient, which is the answer we get when we divide, will be negative. So negative 49 divided by 7 will give you negative 7. And 81 divided by negative 9 will give you a negative 9. And last one, negative 55 divided by a positive 11 will give you a negative 5. All right, and lastly, I have a little tool here that can help you as you're studying for your assessment. Here is a tic-tac-toe board, and we have positive and negative signs. Okay, so the first two columns are the multiplier or the divisors. Okay, so in the third column is either the product or the quotient. Okay, and you can read it from left to right. So, for example, multiplication, if we have a positive times a negative, our answer is going to be negative. If we have a negative times a positive, our answer will be negative. If we have a negative times a negative, our answer will be positive. And if we have a positive times a positive, our answer will be negative. Okay, and the same rule applies if we are dividing. Positive divided by a negative, we get a negative. A negative divided by a positive, we get a negative. And a negative divided by a negative, we get a positive. And then a positive divided by a positive, we get a positive quotient. Alrighty, hope this helps. Good luck on your test.